And now coming in over the Eastlink Bridge, the Airbus A320. Today, the retro version of the aircraft, painted in the Aer Lingus colour scheme of the late 1960s. Flown today by Captain Paul Scully and First Officer Darren Carthy. And Paul's asked to say hello to his family, who are actually on the riverside today. He'll probably give them a wave. Promo on the left turn, yeah?
Staying with the vintage theme for our next aircraft, a modern aircraft in vintage colours, the Aer Lingus A320 Retro. As part of the anniversary celebrations in 2011, Aer Lingus welcomed the arrival of a new Airbus A320 to its fleet. The aircraft, named St Coleman, was painted in the old Aer Lingus Irish International livery from the 1960s. EI-DVM, or Victor Mike, flies the regular routes operated by Aer Lingus. Seating 174 passengers, it operates with 6 cabin crew and 2 pilots. The A320 has a range of 6,150 kilometres, and while it takes off at approximately 150 miles an hour, it cruises at around 510 miles an hour at 39,000 feet. Today we're seeing it at 800 feet, and Victor Mike is one of 33 A320s operated by Aer Lingus.
So coming in through on its second pass now, the Air Contractors ATR-42. You may not have heard of Air Contractors, but they fly very regularly. With over 40 years of experience, they operate aircraft every night out of Dublin and around the world. They describe themselves as the Irish airline you've never heard of, operating a fleet of cargo and passenger aircraft that fly to 90 cities, 250,000 tons of cargo, 64,000 passengers a year, and the customers include FedEx, Thomas Cook, TUI and Sunway. Chances are, if you're heading on holidays and you're not flying with one of the airlines that you recognise, then you're flying on an Air Contractors aircraft. The ATR first entered service in 2002, and they operate 18 of these aircraft. This aircraft can carry up to 5.5 tons of cargo. And keep an eye on Air Contractors. You're going to be hearing an awful lot more about them in the years to come. Back out over the Eastlink Bridge, the second run for the Aer Lingus A320 aircraft, the backbone of the Aer Lingus fleet. This particular aircraft today is normally on the Heathrow or Manchester flights, but it's just as likely to be on a Canary Islands flight or off at Christmas to Lapland. The aircraft takes 174 passengers. There's 6 cabin crew looking after them, and there are 3 cockpit seats. It travels at up to 350 knots at 39,000 feet. Wheels down, first stage of flap, and a slow fly past today from the A320 aircraft from Aer Lingus. Transaero 767 next, yeah?
From Moscow to Shannon. Followed by the DHL 757. It's out of Moscow, scheduled cargo comes through here to Shannon.
Okay. Yeah. Yes.
From Airbus to Boeing, our next aircraft operated by Transaero is the Boeing 767. The model first flew in 1981. 1,052 have been built, and today's aircraft is operated by Transaero. They operate from their headquarters at Moscow International Airport, where they were founded in 1990. They've maintenance facilities in Shannon in County Clare. This aircraft is one of 94 in the Transaero fleet. 180 feet long with a wingspan of 156 feet, tip to tip, this is a big aircraft with 2 engines producing 50,000 pounds of thrust. Powerful.
Our aircraft today, on its way in over the East Link, the Boeing 767 is directly on its way from Moscow. Next stop Shannon, but dropping into Dublin on the way, flown today by Captain Alexei Baburian, and the first officer is Sergei Varfolomev. They're flying the Boeing 767 aircraft, an aircraft with an amazing history, and more importantly, some very interesting statistics. It's a favourite aircraft on the North Atlantic route, flying across the Atlantic more frequently than any other aircraft. And here's one for some of the younger participants today to take to school with them as some interesting facts. Did you know that there are 3.1 million parts in a single 767 aircraft? It's capable of cruising at 43,000 feet. And the noise level of a 767 flying overhead is just about the same as the average street corner traffic noise that you'd hear in a busy city.
Our favourite song is Elton John, Nikita.
While all of this activity is happening today along the banks of the River Liffey, it's important to realise too that it's business as normal at Dublin Airport. And to that extent, the Irish Aviation Authority have arranged today not only for us to have controllers here, but also at Dublin Airport. So we have technically our own mini airport here. They're just not landing. The Transaero 767. So direct from the skies of Moscow to the skies of Dublin, Transaero 767.
So the child is with the Gardaí.
Yeah, on the north side of the Samuel Beck.
It's just the 6 to 8 confused me.
Yeah.
He's either one of the others. Okay.
6 or 8 year old that doesn't know what age he is.
Correct.
A bit,
I know. Exactly. Am I clear? Yes, and then I'll do this. Yeah. Today's Flightfest is brought to you by BBAM and
Now we have an important announcement. If you brought Hugh Lonergan with you to Flightfest today and you have lost contact, then he is with the Gardaí on the north side of the Samuel Beckett Bridge. So if you are a guardian or parent of a young Hugh Lonergan, you will find him with Gardaí on the north side of the Samuel Beckett Bridge. According to Gardaí today, we have over 130,000 people at Flightfest 2013. We have been very lucky with the weather. The showers at the beginning of the day clearing. Still some terrific aircraft to come for you, including the Hunter, the Sabre, the A380, and the elegant A340 from Etihad.
My son just rang me on the personal mobile there and said, nice weather you've got. He said, a Russian pilot just came over here and he's been watching it all on the website. He said, this looks great. Oh, super.
That's good.
He said, thank Michael comment because he's involved in that.
No, I just wish you'd shut up. Yeah. Today's Flightfest is brought to you by GE Capital Aviation Services. Yes. Which one? Contractors. Yeah, sorry. But slowly. Where is it?
He's just going downwind. He's over there.
Okay.
757's next.
Is it? 757.
DHL yellow 757.
Sorry,
Yellow
757.
Peril. And he's just approaching the hold to lead.
So the 76 is one last go.
Pilot's name's Kira.
Which? Oh yeah, I have to. Yeah.
Second flight pass coming now from the Transaero 767. Looking out over the bay, you'll see it coming in at the Eastlink Bridge. The first 767 entered service in September 1982, and since then, this particular model of aircraft has flown over 16.2 million flights, carrying millions of passengers. A quiet approach, power added back to 1700 feet as we say goodbye to the Transaero 767. Yellow peril. What did you say? For some reason, some of the controllers up here are practicing their Russian. Five next. Yeah.
We two air contractors now, not together, but you have the 757 denominator contract with DHL,
Correct.
operated by air contractors, and you have the Hercules.
Next.
Yeah, the civilian version.
Check.
The same company.
Yep.
Pilots licensed to fly the 767 can also fly the 757. Boeing kept the flight decks the same. The bodies are different. The 757 is a mid-size narrow-body twin-jet and first flew in 1981. Production stopped in 2004, and many are now flying with freight operators like DHL. Today's aircraft carries documents, famous band equipment, F1 cars, sheep, valuable bloodstock animals and time-sensitive medical supplies. And the aircraft can be adapted to carry 33 horses and 14 grooms, a task that DHL Air has been using between New Zealand and various destinations in Australia for the last 3 years.
Only take him 8 minutes to get round here.
I think we have an hour to go. And so now approaching the Eastlink Bridge, the Boeing 757. And as I mentioned to you, the pilots who can fly the 767 and 757 are licensed for both aircraft. 24 million hours of service for this particular type of aircraft. Operated today by Captain Steve Barnes, the DHL Boeing 757. My clear, are you going for sponsor? I see him here, I see him there.
Flightfest is brought to you by Oryx Aviation.
Part of the fun of putting together the information today meant I had to go and look for the strangest fact from all of the aircraft available and flying overhead today. And it's the 757 that wins the prize for the most unusual piece of information. And that is that this freighter can hold over 6 million golf balls. Did anyone count them? In over 18 years of operation for this particular type of aircraft, it's already flown the equivalent of nearly 25,000 round trips between the Earth and the Moon. The sun shining on the 757 aircraft as it comes in around by the Pigeon House chimneys. Particular aircraft we're looking at today was converted in 2001 from a passenger aircraft into the freighter version which is flying today. And as we mentioned to you earlier on, this aircraft can carry anything from very valuable documents all the way up to recently a Formula One vehicle, bringing it to one of the Grand Prix around the world. 28 tons is the cargo uptake. And the aircraft can be adapted to carry 33 horses and 14 grooms.
The contractor's in tight behind him then. So.
Okay. One more of this. DHL have been operating in Ireland since 1979. Each day, DHL operate charter aircraft into and out of Dublin and Shannon airports. They have an Airbus A300 operating to the Dublin route and a Boeing 737 operating on the Shannon route. Out. Yes, thank you. I know about that one.
He's going off to a task after practicing that as well.
Oh, okay.
Arc level or something.
Okay. Do we have anything for the Herc? Okay.
Not on the spot.
That's no, that not until this one's passed. Yeah. And so, as with all of our flight paths today, the final flight path is a slow configuration with the aircraft undercarriage wheels down, one stage of flaps, and 180 miles an hour. And those of you with very keen eyesight will also see another aircraft further out in the hold on its way in. And this will be the Hercules aircraft from Air Contractors. But in the meantime, we say a special thank you to the DHL Boeing 757 and Captain Steve Barnes.
This Charlie 130 has the resolution booms in. Yeah, right.
Our next aircraft claims a great ancestry and a strong family tree. This is the newest incarnation of the Lockheed Hercules, the C-130J, known affectionately as the Herc. Today flown by the Royal Air Force. They have a total of 25 of these aircraft used for tactical air transport, powered by 4.
You didn't run that promo. I'll read it. Our next aircraft approaching from the East Link, the Lockheed L-100 Hercules. It's a civilian variant of the C-130 military transport aircraft. First flew in 1964. 114 of these aircraft were delivered. More renowned for its military role, this aircraft is also used by air contractors to provide offshore spraying for the oil industry. And to that end, if you're very keen with the eyesight today, you'll see that it has extended the oil dispersing booms that operate at the back of the aircraft. The reason being, as soon as they finished here today at Flightfest, they're off to practice some of their oil dispersal exercises for the rest of the afternoon. It's capable of flying at a height of just 100 feet over the water, spraying the detergent along the sea, on or near the surface. And this particular aircraft was also a bit of a movie star. It recently starred in the movie World War Z along with Brad Pitt. Flown today by Captain Ian Churchill, the Air Contractors Lockheed L-100. So again, looking to the back of the aircraft, you'll see the booms that are used for spraying the detergent on any oil slicks that might be found at sea.
Today's Flightfest is brought to you by SMBC Aviation Capital.
The registration of the Hercules today is EIJIV, India Victor. It's the only civilian registered Hercules type flying in Europe. It can also carry a payload of 20 tons. And in July of this year, it carried 85 skydivers who all made it safely back to the ground. We've been showing lots of faces in the crowd today. We also want to say hello to Cian, Ryan and Aaron Cushnahan from Malahide, who are enjoying Flightfest 2013.
Flightfest is brought to you by Airbus. Today's Flightfest is brought to you by Thales.
I don't want to go out there yet for a second. So as we mentioned to you, this aircraft, once it finishes today at Flightfest, is continuing to go on a training mission. And on that mission, they will actually be down to over 100 feet over the sea, practicing the fuel dispersant techniques and oil dispersant techniques from the booms at the back of the aircraft. And if you wave, you get a wave back from the Hercules, from Air Contractors. So 4 aircraft to go this afternoon, some big hitters on the way. Don't forget our grand finale with the A380. A fantastic Sunday afternoon with over 130,000 people in attendance, and just been told that we've got over 40,000 people watching online. So this has been a big event as part of the gathering and as part of Flightfest 2013.
They're coming together. Is that's in there? Let me do it this one here. Okay. Long finals. Okay. So yeah, you could run one. It's short.
We've seen a lot of really nice aircraft today and more to come. but this next aircraft colour scheme will have all the cameras clicking. It's time for the Hawker Hunter Misdemeanor. This is our aircraft from the 1950s. Built in 1956, originally for the Royal Air Force, it later moved to the Swiss Air Force in 1971, before retiring in 1996. Later being sold to our current owner Heritage Aviation and Jonathan Whaley. This is our 15th season being displayed, and her colour scheme is, in a word, spectacular.
And not on her own, Misdemeanor is also accompanied today by the Sabre. We've got Jonathan Whaley flying the Hawker Hunter. And Mark Linney in the Sabre. One of those don't blink or you miss it moments. I'm sure they're going to come around for another pass. It's definitely a photograph to capture.
We have aircraft from every decade today. Next, the 1940s. Our next fast jet this afternoon is one of a kind. Of over 7,800 aircraft built, this is the only A-model Sabre flying in the world. And as a sprightly 64-year-old, it's the world's senior operational jet aircraft. Recovered from a scrapyard for $500 and 10,000 hours of work later brings us this fantastic jet, the F-86A Sabre. The F-86A set its first official world speed record of 670 miles an hour in September 1948. Get ready for some noise.
Back on.
And as we wait for the two aircraft to make their second pass, we're going to say good afternoon to Laura, Emma and Amy Danaher. And their mum, Sonia Bissett, says, hope you're enjoying the Flightfest. The Irish weather doing us proud as we get ready for our final guests today. And as we come to this part of the show, a quick reminder, by the way, that at the end of the show, Dublin bus northbound, you should head for Gardner Street. Dublin bus south, head for O'Connell Street. The Dart station at Tower Street is closed, so head to Grand Canal, Pearse Street or Conley. And the nearest Lewis is Conley. We'll give you those details again as we get towards the end of the show. In the meantime, we prepare for the second run now over the East Link Bridge of the Hunter and the Sabre.
Thanks for that, boss.
No, I'll take it again off you. Am I clear to go? This is a really good time, of course, to thank all of the support people here of today, all the people who've been keeping you safe, people on the rivers, and also a special hello to people who found themselves some really good vantage points on a lot of the rooftops around Dublin today, including the guys who apparently are on the roof of O'Brien's coffee shop and some way managed to get a text to me to say hi, so why not? Well done, guys. One of the handy things about being up here at the air traffic control facility is we get a little bit of advance notice of the aircraft on the way. We know the A380 has left Heathrow and is en route, as indeed has the Etihad A340 on its way from Manchester. So those two big aircraft still to come. In the meantime, we're not finished yet with the two fantastic fighter fast aircraft. And those of you with astute hearing will notice the difference between the two engine sounds on both the Hunter and the Sabre. The Hunter has a sweeter sound, often referred to as the Hunter Blue Note, whereas the Sabre has more of a growl. Today, ladies and gentlemen, is one of those days that people will talk about in years to come. The last time this event occurred was in 1936. Here we are again as part of the gathering in 2013. A unique event with aircraft flying over a city at 800 feet, straight up the River Liffey, in front of 130,000 people, with over 40,000 people watching on the internet. It's definitely a day to remember. If you've managed to get some really good photographs today and you're going to pass them around on social media, don't forget to use the hashtag Flightfest, and then we'll all be able to see your handiwork.
This is the last one for these, and then for the Etihad 340.
Jonathan Whaley there, also known as Flapjack, with the Hawker Hunter in her 15th season, followed in quick pursuit by Mark Linley flying the F-86 Sabre on their final pass. Guys, thank you. A wonderful display. Here at the PwC to Baldonnel Air Control as we get ready for our second last aircraft today. It's all gone by so quickly, but the good news in the hold is the Etihad A330 600 aircraft.
On the way, the mighty Airbus A380. Before that, the elegant, sleek and powerful A340. 4 Rolls-Royce engines on this aircraft, operated today by Etihad, where the aircraft is used on flights of up to 15 hours duration. The aircraft can take 475 passengers, and it carries a staggering 195,979 litres of fuel. That will keep your car going for a while. The airline operates more than 1,300 flights per week for passengers and cargo, with a fleet of 80 Airbus and Boeing aircraft, and they fly regularly from Dublin to their headquarters in Abu Dhabi, and onwards to 86 destinations including the Middle East, Africa, Europe, Asia and Australia. Founded in 2003, Etihad has a strong relationship with Ireland and with the GAA and hurling. Flightfest is brought to you today by Capita and KPMG.
Our next aircraft, the Etihad A340 600. Etihad, of course, the national airlines of the United Arab Emirates. They began operations in 2003, and by 2012 they've carried over 10.3 million passengers. Picking up the top honours at the World Travel Awards in December 2012, taking the world's leading airline title for the 4th year in a row. And in the 7 years it's been operating out of Ireland, the airline has won 15 Irish Travel Industry Awards. Now there's, of course, a huge cultural connection as well, as Etihad Airways and the GAA All-Ireland Senior Hurling Championship involves a sponsorship also of the Irish Museum of Modern Art and, of course, the Gathering 2013. And as part of the Gathering 2013, the airline will carry hurling teams from the Arabian Gulf, Asia and Australia to Ireland to participate in the International Hurling Festival. The aircraft we're seeing today normally operates on the ultra long routes of up to 15 hours. That's Abu Dhabi to Sydney, Melbourne, Washington and Sao Paulo, and it's certified to carry up to 475 passengers. This aircraft's a big one. We've got a wingspan of over 63 metres, the tail stands at 17.29 metres, and the aircraft is 75 metres long, powered by 4 Rolls-Royce Trent engines. So our controllers here at the PwC are now taking a handover from radar at Dublin for the A340. And if you look just over the Eastlink Bridge at the moment, you'll see the helicopter, which is doing a lot of the photography today, is repositioning itself to give a clear run for the A340 on the way in. And I've just been handed a message. Just been handed a message from the captain of the British Airways A380, Captain Jeremy Brown. And Captain Brown has asked that all of the young people at Flightfest today make sure that they're ready for a really big wave. Otherwise, they're not going to come. So they're actually, at the moment, holding out over the Irish Sea until we give them confirmation that the young people at Flightfest today will give a really big wave to the A380. In the meantime, looking out over the Eastlink, our long-haul special, the Etihad A340-600.
Yeah, we're going to try any whichever camera is available outside when we get out. Probably I would say is that one better? Or whichever, it's your call anyway. Yeah. Yes, that one down there. Yeah. Oh, anybody do you want tonight? Yeah. Well, we can get these controllers. Yeah. If they're in the humor, like.
A great deal of the aircraft we've seen today have been twin-engined aircraft. What you'll notice about this aircraft is it's got 4 engines, giving it the ability to cross, for example, the Pacific Ocean or any of the long-haul routes operated by Etihad. The captain today is Captain Giorgio Evangelisti, assisted on the flight deck by Captain Martin Richard.
Yeah.
So Captain Evangelisti is going to take the aircraft left, back out over Bushy Park, out towards Dunleary, and back in for the second run on the aircraft today. This aircraft model wouldn't normally be seen in Dublin and was brought over especially for Flightfest today by Etihad.
Open the door.
Flightfest is brought to you by A&L Goodbody and Dublin Aerospace.
Etihad Airways operate from Abu Dhabi to Dublin Airport's Terminal 2 10 times weekly. And they've increased the capacity on the route with the introduction of the Boeing 777 6 times weekly, providing additional 900 seats every week.
Flightfest is brought to you today in association with PwC and McCann Fitzgerald.
Okay. You can actually, if that, was that his second pass? He's gone, is he? No, he's wanted to do. He's turning tight now. Okay, so one more from Etihad, and then he's got very close behind.
Have a look at that wonderful paint scheme on the A340, done of course in celebration of Etihad's involvement with F1 Formula Racing. You'll also notice in the distance the huge A380, which is in the hold.
That's the there, but it's holding off. Second of that? Yeah. That's speedbird there now. Go.
Even though our next aircraft is flying at 800 feet, you may feel the need to duck. It's the big one, the British Airways Airbus A380. And here are the statistics. The key dimensions are 238 feet long, 79 feet high, and 261 feet wide. Put another way, the plane is twice as long as a blue whale. The tail is as high as 5 giraffes standing on top of one another, and the combined floor space of the two decks is 50% greater than that of the previous record holder, the Boeing Jumbo 747. There is more than 310 miles of wiring in each A380, and it weighs 589 tons.
And the voice in our speakers here at the Air Traffic Control Centre in PwC is the voice of Captain Jerry Brown of the British Airways A380 aircraft, making its spectacular finale to the Flightfest as the aircraft comes up towards the Eastlink Bridge. On board today, Senior First Officer Ilkka Tavanen. Also with safety pilots on board, Captain James Basnett and Senior First Officer Peter Nye. All four of the British Airways pilots are actually part of the entry to service for this aircraft, which is currently flying for British Airways on the Frankfurt route and will very shortly go into full service on the Los Angeles flight. One thing we hope you'll hear, if the horn doesn't go off again, is how quiet this aircraft. It's twice as quiet on takeoff than a Boeing 747 and 4 times as quiet as a 747 landing. Bet this was written by Airbus. The A380 is 16% more fuel efficient, and the list price, if you've got some small change, $400 million per aircraft. 2 crew, or 4 depending on the length of the flight, and 22 cabin crew, ensuring a great experience on your flight to Los Angeles. Ladies and gentlemen, a very special Dublin and Ireland welcome for the A380. An amazing double-decker aircraft, the A380 from British Airways, making a left turn, and they've promised us not 1 more pass, but 2 more. So make sure you've got your cameras ready.
Was that Jerry Brown? Oh yeah, skipper. Peter Nye and James Bassett are flying.
Oh yeah. The controllers here tell me that they've just told the British Airways crew that there's over 150,000 people waving up at them. And the answer back, they're loving it.
Flightfest today is brought to you in association with Dublin Bus and Irish Rail.
I'm going to do the camera back.
So if you're looking for the aircraft, just look down towards the Pigeon House chimneys. Or watch on the big screens as we give you a spectacular view of this aircraft. Flown direct from Heathrow today. 2 pilots on board, plus 2 safety pilots. And particularly as well, this flypast was practiced many times by British Airways in their state-of-the-art A380 flight simulator that they operate at Cranebank in London.
So after this, I'm decamping out here, yeah? I don't have talk back, but I can see you. Should just talk to him. Yeah. Could actually reconnect. It's there, is it?
My son said, where are you watching from? I said, where are you watching? I reckon he said, near the camp. He was standing 1 foot to his right. So,
Now can you... Oh yeah, I mean, absolutely.
And so, ladies and gentlemen, it's hard to believe, but after months and months of planning, Flightfest 2013 is about to come to a close with the final flight past from the British Airways A380. Let's make sure they remember their visit to Dublin.
Dublin bus, Garden Street. Southside there. You had it earlier. Dublin bus, they said they're
Yeah,
Garden Street.
it's on Shades.
Excellent. Lewis from Connolly and Abbey Street, Irish Rail from Connolly.
I'm on the wrong frequency there. So.
Lewis from Connolly and Abbey Street.
Yeah.
Irish Rail, Connolly and Pierce Station.
Yeah.
Bus hours to the provinces.
And drive, so
So just
thanks,
because
yeah.
there's going to be a lot of
I don't know whatever the
If that's right,
mark is it? Somebody else is shouting. Oh, that's okay. Happens just as a delay. That's all. Okay. Somebody got a mic out there? Okay. Fantastic. A round of applause from everybody here on the balcony at PwC as we say a very special thank you to British Airways and the A380, bringing Flightfest 2013 to a close. Aircraft pulling up to a high rate of climb to 5,000 feet as the aircraft prepares to head back to Heathrow today. Shay Pardy's with me, Peter Carney's here with me. Congratulations, gentlemen. We said it was an idea to take off, and there we are to the last aircraft. How does it feel?
It feels fantastic, Michael, and I think the main thing to do is now thank everybody who's helped support us and get us to this part of the day. The weather turned out fantastic. The air traffic control team, thank you very much. Thank you to all the operators, the Irish people who helped us, the Irish Air Corps, DCC and An Garda Síochána for making this a fantastic day. It'll go down in history.
Oh, fantastic day, and we'll be looking. Try and get your hands on one of those controls for me, those fantastic orange jackets, as we'll have it with it. Shay, also I wanted to bring you in on this and do two things with you. One is on your phone you've got some very valuable information I want from the Gardaí about travel and traffic, so we'll get that in a second. I have some notes here as well which we're going to do on that one. Any comments yourself from seeing this on paper many weeks and months ago and a couple of thousand emails and phone calls later?
A little bit exhausted at this stage, but delighted. Many thanks to everybody who came in. To a couple of people I want to mention. I want to mention Michael Common, who's holding the mic, to Mark Nolan and the rest of the team here in PwC, but also the council, the Gardaí. An awful lot of people helped. I look forward to getting some family time in over the next few weeks. But just to say thanks to everybody, it's been amazing.
It has, and a really good humoured event as well. Everybody's in terrific form. We're going to give people some traffic information and travel information as well. You have probably got the more details than I have on it, so maybe I can borrow your phone as we go through it. This is one of the things I like about doing live television. So what we have is information for you in terms of the end of the show. Dublin bus northbound, you should head for Gardner Street. For Dublin bus south, head for O'Connell Street.
If you're looking for a dart station, well, Tara Street is closed, so head to Grand Canal and Pierce Street and Connolly. And the nearest Lewis is Connolly Station. I'll hand you that back, Shay, as well. I also have some additional notes here for you as well. So you've got the Dublin bus at Gardner Street, Lewis at the Connolly at Abbey Street, Irish Rail Connolly and Pierce Station. The Gardaí have also asked you, please be very, very careful and drive slowly near pedestrians. People are tired, people are excited, and maybe there'll be little people as well who might be a little bit on the grumpy side, so won't be watching where they're going. So please do drive carefully with that. And also, as I said, if you could follow any directions from the stewards, they'll keep you safe. We're going to keep the screens on here for a little bit longer in case there's any additional information, but in the meantime, on behalf of everybody involved in Flightfest 2013, I did say it at the beginning, it was a one-off event. Actually, we have them here. I want to bring in the controllers today, Micheál and Gwen. Gwen, we actually didn't think we were going to get you because you were working till the very last second. All a blur, do you remember any of it?
I definitely remember that A380 flying past 3 times. Fantastic day. The weather has been absolutely amazing. The Irish weather definitely keeps you on your toes. But we'd just like to say a huge thank you to Paul McCann, who's our manager back in Dublin Airport, all the air traffic controllers out at Dublin Airport who made this possible for us then to take the traffic over in the display circuit.
Micheál, one of the things that you had to do as well is you had a finely worked out plan, but you also were quite flexible at times in terms of bringing the aircraft in as they were available.
Absolutely, yeah. That the element involved was that it was a fluid situation, dynamic situation. The aircraft were visual at all times, and we were absolutely delighted to take part. But I echo all of Gwen's comments. It was a fabulous day in the end, and it was great.
Now, you two, I know, are part of a very big team, but you actually practiced this on simulators that you have at your training facility beforehand.
Yeah, we did. We did about 16, 17 simulations back at Dublin ATC. The whole team, so that's the controllers that you don't see here today, they've been cooped up in front of the radar screens. We're the lucky ones, or unlucky maybe if the weather was going to be bad, to be standing here. But we all did a huge team effort back at Dublin Air Traffic Control Centre for the last maybe 4 months to take it to here today.
Well, on behalf of everybody who had a fantastic show today, it's down to you guys for keeping them coming one after the other. Thank you both very much indeed. Micheál, thank you. So, as I said, Flightfest 2013, they said it's a one-off time event. It's not going to happen again. Happened last time in 1936. Happened today as part of the gathering. We've thoroughly enjoyed it. Thank you to the over 40,000 people who are watching us online this very moment around the world, and to the over 120,000 people who came to the river along the Liffey here. It's been a fantastic day. On behalf of all of us here, thanks for watching. See you again.